Well, hello everyone, and welcome to session 4 of the AMBA and BGA Business School Leaders Forum, brought to you by GoToWebinar by LogMeIn. For those of you that don't know me, I'm David Woods-Hale, Director of Marketing and Communications at AMBA and BGA. And for this session, I'm delighted to be joined by Percy Marquina, Dean of CENTRUM PUCP Business School in Peru. Percy is going to talk to us about innovation and course development through partnerships with the corporate world. And in a moment, I'll pass over to him to start. But just before I do that, for those of you that haven't joined one of our webinar sessions before, I just wanted to let you all know that the session will have a question and answer discussion at the end. So if you have any questions at all for Percy, just type these in the little box in your control panel, and I'll try and get through as many of them as I can towards the end of the session. If we do run out of time, don't worry, because I'll pass these on to Percy and he'll come back to you directly to answer them. I'll be on the line throughout the webinar, so if you've got any queries or just want to have a chat with me, just pop the question into the Q&A box and I'll come straight back to you. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Percy for the presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your participation in this important conference. I was honored and invited by our colleagues in AMBA, and the idea in this presentation is to share with you which has been the process that we used in CENTRUM to improve and update our MBA program. Just a minute. Okay, just to give you some information, CENTRUM is one of the leading business schools in our country, and we start our programs 20 years ago, and when we start this process of relaunch our MBA, we have maybe the highest share of market in terms of MBA locally. So in that sense, it's mean that we are, like, I would like to say, a star program in our local market. Before we start, we decided to hire a marketing agency in order to make an ethnographic marketing research through our students and the students of other business schools in our city. We basically know that our program was been offering during almost 10 years. We have made many updates, but those are, I should say, incremental updates. It does not change basically the curricula. It basically change a little bit the content of each program. So in this particular case, we realized, attending many conferences as this one, that there is many things that have been changing in the environment, and we must have to do something with that. We start realizing that there are many different things that the corporate world is looking for the students of an MBA. The top 5 most important skills that was reported by Financial Times in that time, and I'm speaking about 2017, are basically those, no? The ability to work with a wide variety of people, time management and ability to prioritize, understanding digital impact, ability to build, sustain, and expand network of people, and the ability to solve complex problems. Let's say the least important skills are the traditional ones, those who are part of the core of any other MBA. It means for us that the core courses that we have before 2017 are perceived as the, let's say, basics, but not really what the corporate world is needed in that moment. And after receiving the redefine all our strategic plan, all our mission, vision, our purpose, and then we decided to improve what changes would we make in our MBA. The new purpose that we defined in that moment is that we would like to teach businesses for a better world. Our vision is to continue being the best business school in Peru and remain among the top 10 in Latin America. And our mission was re-expressed in terms of we transform persons into agents of change with a positive impact in society. After receiving the report for the marketing agency and combined with the discussion that we have made with the faculty, we defined that the key features that we have to afford in this new stage of the business school and in this new stage of our MBA program are basically these ones. We need what we call a humanistic approach. What does it mean? We have been offering basically, let's say, the core courses of an MBA. The orientation, in some sense, was basically technological. Technological meaning for that we teach the tools that they need to deal in business. But we are part of a major university. We are part of the Pontificia University Católica de Perú. And our main university has 120 years right now. In offerings of the main university is the general study of humanistic studies, philosophy, history, psychology, sociology, and so on. And we realize that in this new era where there is going to be a lot of technology around, we need not only skills, technological skills to deal with that, but also to deal with the basis. And the basis means that we should need to incorporate into the program some of these humanistic areas. More or less, our slogan at CENTRUM is, if we need more technology, we need more humanism. So that's one of the key features. The other decision is that we need to make some kind of balance between family, work, and study. In the past, the program was very rigorous. The professors made a lot of homework for the students, and this is very, very heavy, very rigorous, but we forget about the balance that the students need between their work, the study, and their family. In our case, most of our MBAs are part-time. So our students are people who have almost 30 years and they are, most of them, working. So we need to make a balance between that. The decision in that moment was to make blended programs. And for us, in that moment, blended programs means that we have to reduce the length of the program, and we do have to incorporate, let's say, no less than 30% of virtual classes in every cohort that we have of the MBA. Another feature that we decided is that we need to give the students information about the Industry 4.0 challenges. We then decided to incorporate an application which its name is Personality Insights. This Personality Insight is an application developed by IBM with the use of artificial intelligence. So we decided to start incorporated artificial intelligence in the program. Another important change for us is that we decided to stop using academic thesis, and we changed it to a capstone, to a practical-oriented thesis. Another decision was that according to the Peruvian rules, we cannot change the curricula by ourselves only, because we need to send the new curricula to the public authorities, and this take almost 2 years to be approved. So we decided to not change the curricula itself, but to incorporate new elective courses without changing the basic curriculum. This decision allows us to give new tools, new courses to the student without changing the main curriculum. Another idea is that we need to support our students in their entrepreneurship endeavors. And we decided in that moment to change to a learning management system, which is Moodle. In that moment, the decision was made because Moodle is an open source platform. Right now, in this year, we are deciding to move between Canvas or Blackboard. We have learned that the chip is not the best. So in this case, we are deciding to invest a little bit more, but give a better experience to the student to these new modern platforms. Okay, having these ideas of what we would like to improve our MBA, we start looking for outside partners to help us. The idea was basically we have learned for the financial system in this new environment that besides their own developments, they contact a lot of entrepreneurs, what is called the fintech environment. And these little entrepreneurs help the bank to develop new programs, new products. Knowing about this experience, we decided to contact new partners from the corporate world that we have not worked before. And those are finally the ones that we finally made an agreement and incorporate their developments in our program. So the first one, for example, is Lee Hatch Harrison DBA. This is a global leader in labor mobility. We have been working for them for 15 years, just to helping the students to build and develop their career in terms of mobility and moving from one work to other. But during this time, DBM, which was the initial company, merged with Lee Hatch Harrison, and it helps them to build a platform to deliver programs in terms of responsible management in a virtual basis, a very good, well-developed platform. So we analyzed and we decided that why are we going to invest time and money to develop some platform in which we are not, let's say, the experts, having beside us a provider that is a specialist in this kind of platforms. So we make a deal and we incorporate their platforms and their material in our responsible management course. The same or something similar we made with Center for Creative Leadership. As you may know, Center for Creative Leadership is one of the 20 best ranking institutions in terms of executive education. And they have been attending our local market basically through customized courses. They never deliver open courses in our country. So again, we make a deal with them because we find there is an opportunity. There is a market that they have not attended, and obviously our programs are an open offering to the market. So we decided to have a licensing agreement with them. The CCL train our professors in their methodology. They share with us their material, the pedagogical methodology, and way to evaluate this kind of program. So with this deal, we make a new course of leadership and was developed under this agreement. The third alternative related to this Industry 4.0, again, the the analysis that we made was basically this. Again, our main faculty is formed in traditional core business courses. They are not experts in terms of technology. So if we are going to improve our MBA, we should need to hire new faculty members who can deal with this new knowledge. But this should take 2 to 3 years to hire experts to improve our faculty. The fast track was to make an agreement with IBM. They do have a lot of experts in this kind of knowledge. And again, following basically the same model, we make an agreement with IBM. They share with us their platforms, their content, and we make a joint course. They basically deliver the technical or technological content of the course, and our professors develop the application of these new tools into the business. It was a great opportunity for the students to know about new trends from the expert of the market. Another incorporation is what we call Neuro Leadership Lab. This was it was developed for a local entrepreneur who studies his PhD in Spain and who specialized himself in terms of neuro leadership management. So in this case, we made an agreement. We invest a lot of money with this entrepreneur, and we help them to develop an app which use a virtual simulator relating the brain activity to the socio-emotional responses of the manager. So we now have an app where the students during 1 hour have to see some movies, little movies, and the computer takes all the emotions with some sensors, and all those responses was measured and reported to the student and to the coach who is helping the student to have this experience. The other application that I have mentioned before is what is called Personality Insights. This is an artificial intelligence app that was developed for IBM. Initially, this app was developed to help the headhunters. And the idea is that the headhunter receives a lot of CVs, and this application should help the headhunters to prioritize the CVs according to the requirements of a company. When we discovered this application, we negotiated with IBM a little bit modification of the app in order to use it in our admission process. So since the very beginning, we have a report who describes which is the personality of the student and how good is this candidate to be part of our MBA program. And finally, the 2 additional partners that we decided to invite to work with us was 2 institutional or academic partners. One is EADA, a Spanish business school, and they help us in order to give practical experiences for our students in terms of innovation and sustainability. EADA is placed in Barcelona, and you may know that Barcelona is one of the most entrepreneur cities in the world. So we decided to give our students a benchmark in terms of practical experience in terms of innovation. And EADA helped us to develop this experience. And finally, but not the least, we get in contact with the Innovation and Development Center at our main university, and they help us in order to develop a design thinking program in order to help the students to develop a capstone using new technologies. So the idea basically is that those skills that we identified at the very beginning was incorporated in the program with the help of all those partners that I have mentioned before. In terms of the curricula, those are basically the new program, the new courses that we have incorporated in the traditional curricula. The first one, in the first term, is the responsible management with the partnership of Lee H. Harrison DBM. Human growth is another partner that I have not mentioned before. This is a very interesting partnership. Human growth was built for alumni of CENTRUM. The developer of this entrepreneurship is a coach. He delivers coaching programs for companies. And again, following the same procedure, our alternative was, how can we build a new course based trying to give the students this humanistic setup that university have in the undergrads? If we follow the traditional path, it should mean that we should have to develop it with our own faculty and would take, let's say, almost a year. We decided to do it in a different way. We invited these alumni to help us to develop the program. He basically sets the program, sets the core, and when he has basically the brief of we should be the new syllabus, we invite all the faculty to discuss with him what's his opinion, what improvement can it be made, and after a discussion of 1 or 2 months, we finally have defined the new course. So we gain time, and in all those changes that I mentioned take us, let's say, 6 months in terms of conceptualize it, negotiate the new contracts, and launch into the market. So my invitation is to explore this kind of alternatives because it gives you better time to market. Which was the success factors in order to evaluate these partnerships? I would suggest that the most important ones is the alignment with institutional and program learning outcomes. We have to be sure that the institutional learning outcomes that we have developed in our program should fix perfectly which the provider can offer. Because if there is not a match since the very beginning, then in the process should arise many problems. The other important thing is try to be sure a correct integration of the contents in terms of the course sessions. It's very important to make that because it's the only one way that you can assure that the learning outcomes are obtained. For us, the train-of-trainer model was the perfect model to our finance. The train-of-trainer model allows us to not increase too much our cost, but to actualize and improve the content of the program and the trainee of our faculty. Another great opportunity is that having these partners, they feel more vinculated to the business school and participate with us not only in the courses, but in the management of the business school itself. In our case, we decided to offer the students one certificate for each partner in order to make it more concrete, the value of the partners for the candidates of the MBA program. Which was the important results in terms of the relation between us and the partners. We invite many representatives of the corporate world to our international advisory board and to our directive committee. The international advisory board, as many other business schools, was in the past basically academic, but we decided to have 1/3 of practitioners and 2/3 of academics since 3 years ago. It was very helpful, but because the representative of the corporate world was the ones who press us more in these meetings. Besides that, we create what we call a directive committee. The directive committee in our case means that this board have 50% of representatives of the local industry, and they meet with the high staff of our business school. The directive committee is represented by 6 people, 3 from the business school and 3 from the local industry. And based on the good experience that we have with our alumni, we decided to create a student advisory council, but basically alumni which are involved in the corporate world. No? So we give the corporate world a way to coordinate in a better way with us in order to improve the program and the management of the business school. Okay, I would like to share, just to finalize, some results until this moment. Okay, right now we have almost 1,400 and in the last 2 months incorporated in the program. This means that in 2021, all the students who are should be studying in Centrum at that moment should move from the traditional MBA to our new MBA, which we call them Centrum MBA. 100% of the MBA students used the tool of the personality insight. Besides what I have mentioned, we start using the Net Promoter Score as a way to evaluate the experience of the student. Right now, in the face-to-face program, we have a Net Promoter Score of 67% as an average and an 80% in online programs. Our benchmark is 80% in all programs. We are dealing with that gap, and we hope that we are going to obtain that achieved very soon. The student satisfaction with courses and faculty is, as an average, 90% in all the programs, face-to-face and online. And in terms of career development, we move from 50% to 100% use of the platform of LAHDBM, which is called Develop Me Platform. And in terms of curricular activities, those elective courses that I mentioned you that give humanistic complementary courses, right now we have 2,000 students enrolled with a Net Promoter Score of 73%. We have been reaccredited in March 2020 with AMBA, and we was ranked very recently as in the with our online MBA program of the number 14 worldwide according to US online MBA rankings. Right now, we are trying to develop additional digital capabilities, and we are looking for ways to integration of arts faculty of the main campus in the creative thinking course. And this is a continuous process, it never ends. We start, but according to the changes in the environment, we need to continuous improvement this kind of rebuilding the MBA. As you should imagine, in this new pandemic era, there are a lot of things that we have to evaluate and we have to incorporate it curricula, and we are now trying to deal with that. Well, that's basically my presentation. Thank you for attention, and I am open to your questions or comments. Thank you very much in advance.
Thank you very much, Percy. We've had quite a few questions come through, so I'll kick off with the first one. You talked about business school partnerships with the corporate world, and someone's asked if it is important that the partners with whom you work have the same values as the business school, and if so, or if not, how do you ensure that your partners are a good fit?
Yeah, well, it is a very important question. In most of the cases, in the case of IBM, in the case of CCL, in the case of EADA and others, most of them are multinational companies who have values and ethics protocols that are very similar to our business school. And in the case of the academic partners, we look for business school who share our vision and who share the values and the quality itself. There are many institutions who would like to partner with us. Unfortunately, we cannot partner with everybody, and we, in our university, the assignment of a memorandum of understanding is more important than a contract. We think that this understanding is like a marriage. The contract is not a marriage, it's just something transactional. So thank you for the question, but it means that the most important thing is the fix that we have in terms of values, vision, and vision with other institutions.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, so the next question, I think it's a practical point of clarification. They're asking, how long is your program with the co-curriculum modules included?
Okay. The credits is 48 credits program. In the past, the students takes, depending on the model that they take, but the length is between 2 years and 28 months in the past. With the new strategy, which means blended but plus co-curricular activities, the length of the program is between 18 months to 24 months. It depends on the schedule. What I mean is, we have 30 different cohorts during 1 year and different schedules. We have intensive, we have every other weekend, we have virtual. That's the reason why I am speaking in terms of leverage. As more intensive the program, the reduction in terms of length of the time gets to 18. If you have a more comfortable schedule, it takes up to 24 months.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, so the next question is, I think it's considering the sort of new normal following the COVID-19 pandemic, but they're asking, how is Centrum PUCP reconsidering internationalization in the new scenario which we're all facing?
Well, in this case, the trade-off is that we are continuously looking to form MBA students with a global mindset. And to afford that, we need to give our students some kind of internationalization opportunities. Besides that, unfortunately, our country is having huge problems with the COVID. We continues in the quarantine right now, and the things is not looking good. So we are forecasting that during all this year, we are not going to have any international movement. We have canceled all trips. We are not receiving exchange students. We are not allowing our faculty to travel. And during this period, when the quarantine starts, we have a lot of problems because all our students, because each MBA students travels once outside the country. It's mean for us that when the quarantine starts, we almost have as an average 200 students abroad. And in this very moment, it was a crisis, and we decided to help the students to come back, and we invest a lot of money to help them to do so. But it's something that we cannot do every time. So we are imagining that ways to give international experience to our students without traveling. The strategies to deal with that is basically based in what is called internationalization of the curricula. The name that we have been using here in Latin America is COILS. What basically means is that we are looking for partners to have a co-teaching of some specific courses. So the idea, for example, is I am looking for a marketing professor in other country, and we invite them to teach together my course and his course to our students. The idea basically is that, let's say, 70% of the course is developed in the traditional way, but 30% my students and the students of my colleague have to develop some kind of research or applied work together. For example, in a marketing course, we should decide why don't we make a marketing plan to make export of Peruvian vegetables to the country where my partner lives, and in the other way, it's also possible. So basically, those are some kind of the strategies that we are trying to develop.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so the next question is, 2 years is a long time for curricular changes to be approved by a government body. If there wasn't a 2-year approval process, would you still have opted to incorporate elective courses to achieve your goals? If not, what would have been the preferred path to make curriculum changes to achieve your desired result?
Well, 3 years is a huge problem. So what we are trying to do is some kind of portfolio management. What does it mean? For the programs that we have already been authorized and that are offering right now in the market, we are not planning to request any formal modification, because if we make a little bit modification for the authorities, should mean that it's it's like a new program, and it should take again 3 years. So basically, we decided with all the programs that we have, we are not going to request any formal authorization. We are just going to incorporate new elective alternatives to the student in order to achieve the new learning goals of the programs. Besides that, the new programs that we need to request formal authorization, in that cases, the elective courses should be as less as possible. Because as you can imagine, all the elective courses, if we don't reduce the core faculty, should mean incremental financial cost. So for the new programs, the decision is try to make it elective as less as possible. And we are trying to balance the financial impact of increasing costs through elective in the actual offer and merge it with the new ones. That's the approach that we are dealing with.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, so someone else has asked, you mentioned the personality insights tool from IBM. They're just wondering how that works and what are the benefits for your students in using it?
Yeah, it was very easily. The idea is that students receive a link, and through this link, they have to develop a survey. And this is not a conceptual survey, it's a prospectal survey. What does it mean is that the application asks the student to imagine, for example, where will they like to be in the following 10 years, and to write about that vision. And they have five or eight questions like this. Let's say prospective. The idea behind is that the artificial intelligence robot reads behind the words, no? And according with these words, the robot match the words that the student has written with the personality report and research which was made for Bas and Abolio. And taking this match, they make a report of which are his personality, which are his strengths, and which are their weaknesses. We use these results in two moments. In the application process, to try to analyze if the personality of the student match with an entrepreneur orientation, and in the specific course of human resources management. And they use their own resource as a cohort in order to develop some kind of plan since a perspective of human resource management.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to give you two questions just now because they sort of connect together. So the first one is, what is your student makeup like in terms of where they're from and in terms of diversity? And then in connected to that, someone else has asked, do you think that the student profile has changed? And if so, what do you think students are beginning to look for now?
Okay, well, we are a Latin American country, and it's mean that the diversity in our case is different what is interpreted in maybe Europe or the US. We are all Latin, and most of them are criollos, which means that in terms of gender, in terms of heritage. In terms of economic income, our students are not from the top. I should say it's from the second tier, are aspirational and entrepreneurial students. In the past, I mean, with the past curricula, 80 to 90% of our students were entrepreneur. Right now, 45% want to become an entrepreneur and 55% would continue being an employee. And in terms of gender, right now we have 1/3 of, yes, 1/3, 33% of women and 67% of men.
Lovely, thank you very much. Someone else has asked another question. So you mentioned you use Moodle, and they're just wondering how this has enhanced the experience for students, what their feedback has been, and really how you sort of measure that and measure the engagement.
Okay. We now do
Hi, Percy, can you hear me? I think we lost you for a second. Are you back on the line now?
Yes, I am.
Sorry about that. I think we lost you for a
Do you
couple
hear
of
me right
seconds.
now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Sorry about that. I'll just, I think, had you finished answering the question?
Okay.
Yes, I'll just move on to the next question. So you talked about students and employers integrating. Have you got any suggestions for delegates about how students and employers, sorry, can integrate together using virtual means, and any sort of tips there?
What we are trying to do is to make in all the courses and also in the capstone project practical projects. So the idea is that we have to find private companies which allow the students to make some concrete consulting projects for them. That gives the students the opportunity to show to their future employees their competences, and is a way that they analyze the information that he received in the program and the real world. So it's a win-win situation for both.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We've got time for, I think, one or two quick questions. Someone else has asked, in your opinion, how do you think that MBAs could be better prepared to meet the needs of tech employers in particular?
The MBA have to give the student an overall management tools. Is very complicated to give them in-depth technical knowledge. I should say that in the following months or years, we should have to reevaluate which is the core of an MBA program. That technological area should have to improve a huge in terms of the content of a traditional MBA.
Great, thank you very much. I think we've got time for one more. So yeah, so somebody else is asking in terms of partnerships. I guess I suppose we're working in very sort of unforeseen times at the moment, but somebody's really asking what your sort of future strategy in terms of partnerships is. What do you hope to do over the next sort of few years? Do you hope to build more partnerships or keep it around the same level?
No, I mean, we have made a lot and we think it's enough. We have to make a balance between the expectancy and the desires of our faculty and the entrepreneurial mindset of the staff of the business school. So as you have heard, we have basically 5 or 6 courses who has been developed in collaboration with partnerships. So it's mean almost, let's say 20% of the curricula we think is enough. The faculty is not going to support the outsourcing of much courses. So we have done what is possible. What we maybe can do is change one partnership from another to increase the percentage of in the total of the program.
Lovely, thank you very much. You'll be pleased to know I think that's probably all the time we've got for questions, but thank you once again for an excellent presentation and for taking so many questions as well. I appreciate that perhaps that sometimes the connection hasn't been fantastic in this session, so apologies for that, but I think this really serves to demonstrate what a truly global conference this has been, with a session this morning in India, one this afternoon in Peru, and we're off to Belgium later today. So thank you once again, Percy, for taking the time to speak to us today and for all your insight and practical advice. The next session we're going to be hosting is How Virtual and Hybrid Classrooms Are Transforming Online Learning, with Ellen van der Wisterna, Segment Marketing Director for Learning Experience at Barco, as I said, based in Belgium. This will take place at 3:30 p.m. BST. If you've already signed up for the session, you will have or will be about to receive an email from us with a link to join. But if not, I've included the link for you in the chat box, just so as you can copy and paste this into your browser and you'll be able to register. Just before I go, if I have missed off any questions or you feel that you want to ask some more for Percy just now, we'll be able to feed those back to him after the session and he'll be able to come back to you. If you've missed any sessions in the forum so far, we've put all the recordings of the first 3 on our website for you, and I've pasted the link in the chat room so you can find it there and access the content. Please remember that we have loads more sessions still to come, and you can see all the remaining sessions and register for them via our website. Thank you once again, Percy, for taking so much time this afternoon to speak to us, and I look forward to seeing everyone at another session later today or later in the conference. Thank you again, and bye.